Very good evening to everybody over here, and we are having a fine evening today. We have somebody over here who is going to help us learn a lot. I have children from Cambridge International School, Daswa, here with me. We have Muskan Saini, and we have Kovam. And of course, assisting me is Nisha. But let us introduce the person for whom we are here today, our chief guest, Surgeon Rear Admiral Arti Sarin. She's an alumnus of Timpani School, Visakhapatnam, and graduated from the prestigious Armed Forces Medical College, Pune. She was commissioned into the Armed Forces Medical Services in December 1985. She has the distinction of having completed two postgraduate degrees, MD in radiology at AFMC Pune and in DNB Radiation Oncology from the Tata Memorial Hospital, Mumbai. In addition, she was trained in gamma knife surgery at the University of Pittsburgh, USA. In a long naval career, she has done tenures at Naval Science and Technology Limited, Visakhapatnam, and served in the naval hospitals at Port Blair, Visakhapatnam, Kochi, and Mumbai. She has also served as a professor and HOD Radiation Oncology at Army Hospital, RNR, Delhi, Command Hospital, FMC, Pune, and INHS Aswin. She is an examiner for the National Board of Examination in Radiotherapy and is a recognized teacher and examiner at various universities. She has served medical publications to her credit in peer-reviewed journals. In the administrative cadre, she has served as Senior Registrar, Medical Superintendent at INHS Aswini, Mumbai, and Principal Medical Officer, Naval Dockyard, Mumbai. She served as Command Medical Officer, Southern Naval Command at Kochi in 2020, took over the command of Indian Naval Hospital ship Aswini in January 2021, and handled the second wave of COVID-19. She is presently the Command Medical Officer, Western Naval Command at Mumbai. We welcome you, ma'am, and so much of pleasure just to see over there. Our children are ready to learn from you. They have loads and loads of queries which they would like to ask from you. So over to my kids, I would like to ask Kuvam to please come forward and have her queries addressed.
Good evening, ma'am. It's a great pleasure to talk to you. I, with my friend Muskan, are very excited to ask you questions. So, my first question for you is, what is the way forward to join the armed forces?
Good evening, Mrs. Arora, and all the wonderful children of Cambridge International School, Dasuya. I'm really honored and privileged to join you here this evening to introduce you to a little bit to the armed forces of this country and give you information on how you can join the armed forces, which is the first question that I'm being asked. So what is the way to join the armed forces? It's a very standard procedure, and you can actually, all children can just, you are all very savvy on the internet, so you can look up the websites which are available on the internet for all the three forces. I will talk more about the Navy because I'm serving the Indian Navy at the moment. So we have this website which I've just indicated on the slide, and you can just go there, and it is so self-explanatory. Everything is shown upon it. Here we will talk about, in the context of the school, the officers recruitment, and that is usually advertised in a daily newspaper through the employment looms, and there is a selection through various entries that you can have. You can join as a cadet in the National Defense Academy or in the Naval Academy through various exams which are conducted by UPSC, all of which are very clearly indicated on the website. And once the exam is cleared, there is an interview by a very famous, abbreviation that everybody hears, that is the SSB, which is the Service Selection Board. It is a very, stringent round of interviews that select a candidate to join the armed forces, and not very many clear it. It's very difficult, but that is the selection process so that we get the right people for the right job. For all the other permanent commission entries and short service commission, there is no written examinations, and applicants are shortlisted as per the criteria laid down. And we have a varied number of branches that the Indian Navy offers you to join. There are about 20 actually of them. And you can, have various things in various avenues of sports, law, as a musician, You can join as a pilot, as an observer, that is an air navigator, an air traffic control officer. You can go in for general service as a hydrography officer, a person who actually goes and checks, the various aspects of the sea and the sea, the underground aspect, the marine aspects of sailing and topography. Then you can be an engineer and join the services. You can be a naval architect also and join. There is a billets for IT, for logistic officers, for education officers, for naval armament officers, lawyers, and the armed forces medical services, like I mentioned, which I am a part of, where you have to have a graduate degree in the particular subject and then move on to do that. And then when you join the Navy, you can join the surface Navy, you can join the aviation branch, where we have different kinds of aircrafts, as you can see on our website, a submarine, and a standard way of life, be a Marcos, that is a Marine commando, and so on.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Sure that children aspiring to be officers in the armed forces definitely benefit out of it. So handing over to Muskan, ask her next question.
Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am. It's a great pleasure to talk to you. So,
Good
my
evening.
question for you is, how
Yeah.
will you describe the life of an armed forces officer?
Yes. I would say the armed forces is the way of life, which brings you up when you join, and it takes you to in this very large family that stays and supports you for life. And how do they do this? Because the armed forces has a unique training program. They take you in, they train you to be a professional officer, like all those 20 professions I showed you, and many more in the army and the air force. So they train you to be a professional who takes on and supports the troops involved. Along with that, you learn how to be a manager who handles administration, human relations, and logistics for the troops and the equipment that you carry. And above all, most importantly, a leader of men, troops, and sailors. That is the most important part. It's not a job, as I say, it's a service to the nation. We have tough training schedules with physical training, parades. Physical fitness is prime, so games and periodic physical efficiency tests and battlefield efficiency tests are a way of life for us. There's an immense responsibility that we carry forward for our men, material, logistics, and infrastructure. And we all train and train and train to be always combat ready for any situation, whether it's in peacetime or in war, courageous enough to handle it, and cohesive to work as a team. So that's what it's all about.
So it is quite tough, ma'am, and gets you ready for a new life, I am sure, entirely. Right?
It's a question of routine. We are taught routine. Everything is a routine. We have to handle routine.
Very sure, ma'am. A lot of discipline is required.
Yes.
Right. So handing over to Kuvam to ask our next question.
Ma'am, could you please share some fond memories of your school, college, and childhood?
Thank you, Kuvam. Fond memories are always related to timelines, and fond memories are always you're happy at a particular stage in your life when you get a prize. Here I am. You can see the delight on my face. I'm getting a prize for I think a sports event, and the next one is a very interesting photograph. It is me receiving the championship, and the person on my right is a very important person whom, Monday I'll see if you can meet. This is Dr. Priya Abraham, who's the head of the National Institute of Virology, who has contributed so much to the COVID pandemic. We were classmates and best friends and still are. So I was very happy to see her, her contribution to the whole thing. Then, of course, my stint at AFMC that already has been mentioned in my biodata. This is my college, which I'm very proud of, which teaches us not only to be good at studies, but also at extracurricular activities and to prepare ourselves for a career in the armed forces as doctors as well as armed forces personnel. So here I am with my friend in my college uniform in 1982. The college always very happy memories of, as you can see in this photograph, playing sports. And this was our basketball team. We won the trophy. We were very happy. This was with me and my friends outside a class. Fantastic old memories. And then we came down to doing our internship. A classmate of mine and me together. She's now the head of proton therapy at Apollo Hospital in Chennai. Proud of her too. So that goes on. We had a lot of happy memories, a
Yes.
normal childhood, and a very interesting college at the Armed Forces Medical College.
Such beautiful memories, ma'am. I'm sure they're going to stay with you for a lifetime, you know. It was so nice seeing all of those pictures. The happy days is so very evident on everybody's faces, right?
Yes. And we're carrying it forward even now. I'll show you some in the latter half of my presentation. That's the good part about the armed forces. Like I said, family. So you are always in touch with each other and always there to support each other.
So we'll be waiting for more and more. Next, over to the children. Muskan.
So, ma'am, the next question I have for you is what inspired you to join the armed forces?
Oh, yes. You can see this picture of mine as a little one. I was early, very, very interested. I'm wearing my dad's cap in this picture, all of 5 years old. And the person who inspired us not only to join the armed forces, but to do everything in life was our school principal. The importance of educators. You have one right there amongst yourself, Mrs. Arora, right there. Very, very important. Our school principal, Miss Mercy Jairaj Rao, with whom I correspond to this date. She's 92 years old and she still congratulates me on my achievements. She ensured that we were inculcated into a very disciplined way of life, from the very beginning. We were encouraged to participate in sports, debates, quizzes, etc., in addition to all our curricular activities and studies, which helped really shape our personalities. She taught us routine, she taught us discipline, punctuality, introduced us to ceremonials at school. We had a lot of naval ceremonies introduced to our school. The band would come and play at our sports day. We had naval physical training instructors. So that brought a lot of ceremony into our lives, and we were very disciplined from day one, and we focused on these particular aspects. And I think it has helped me. My father, of course, being a naval officer, he just reinforced what was happening at school and also added to it with all his experiences and introduced me to this organization which is called the armed forces, which has decades and decades of history, grandeur, tradition and culture. So there was a lot of inspiration. There were people I saw who, one of many of my seniors from college who were, we were patients of since I was a service child. I saw the doctors and I saw how smart they were. And I was very inspired and I said, I want to be like that. So that there were multiple sources of inspiration.
You can see a lot of love for your parents and especially for your teachers. It is so heartening, ma'am. And I think they were the stronghold in your life, right?
Very much so.
Over to Kuvam. Has another query she'd like to be addressed.
Ma'am, my next question for you is females are questioned about their physical abilities and mental abilities generally. Did you face any such situation and how did you overcome those?
Well, males and females are different physically as well as physiologically. You will learn physiologically as you learn in your science classes. We are different. And we are all aware of this difference, and we should actually play it to the advantage of a teamwork. you know but we have right now we have a few standards which are a little different for us as far as the physical efficiency standards, but the gap is closing very fast. Our young girls who are at the academies are doing very well. They're closing the gap, and this is of course an older picture of me with my batchmates. As you can see, we are with the men. We are doing as much as they could. It's the same physical activity. If you see, this is our field training which is done, which the first basic course that we do. Here we are seeing with all our male colleagues, no difference. And there is me in J&K shoveling snow with the rest of the troops quite happily. And here I said about closing gaps. Here you have Squadron Leader Avni Chaturvedi. She's flying a MiG aircraft. I mean, she's as physically fit and mentally able as anybody else. We are so proud of her. Here she is in her regalia. So I feel that we can overcome these, and these are all generally there,
Ma'am, through these pictures, we can
physically
clearly
make ourselves
see.
fit to overcome these situations. We have officers who have conquered Mount Everest more than twice, and so I think it's an ongoing process, and we shall close this gap very shortly.
Definitely, we will, ma'am. Through these pictures, we can see, that the difference is already, occurring, and it will take a better, stronger hold in the future for us. As we can see our kids over here, so they are also very inspired by this, right? Handing over to our next question.
So the next question up for you, ma'am, is how do you overcome situations where gender bias existed around your society?
I think I was fortunate, but I think the best method is by being good at your job. I thought I was good at my job professionally, and I was given the due and equal status. So I really didn't really come across it in my job, and did not really encounter it. And I feel that we should stay away from all kinds of bias. We should get our way around it. We should anticipate it and work towards it. That's the only way we can kind of survive and move forward and achieve our goals. Yeah.
Very true, ma'am. So we should stay away from all negative energies and be very positive. And we can see it.
Yeah.
You have epitomed it in your life also.
Yeah.
So you're setting an example for all our kids over there. So, Kuvam, I'm sure you have many more queries. Let's come up with the next question.
Ma'am, my next question for you is, what are the other major challenges that you faced as an armed force officer?
See, there were challenges. I should have actually shown you this in the previous slide. You can see there's hardly any gender bias. You have 3 aircraft pilots in the Navy. And in this next photograph is myself
That's you.
and Lieutenant General Madhuri Kanitkar and Vice Admiral Sheila Mathai, all currently in service. General Kanitkar is just retired. So I don't see any gender bias as, we move on. It's all gender neutral, and you can see myself in this photograph, which has all my male colleagues whom I worked with in Kochi. Yeah, totally gender neutral.
And so we see so many, strong people around, and we cannot say men and women, as you can show it through example.
Being treated
It's
in this photograph just as anybody else should. Yes,
yes, madam. It's really, really inspiring.
yes,
But we have Muskan with another
yes,
query that she'd like to ask.
yes.
So, ma'am, how were you so multitasking in so many different roles?
Yeah, we spoke about challenges and tasks, multitasking. I think they both go together, so that's very correct. As women, I would say we definitely have a slight edge about multitasking. We are physiologically gifted in multitasking. So, but you cannot multitask or manage the challenges. The challenges mainly in our lives in the armed forces are basically logistic, basically frequent movements and adjusting on the home front and childcare. So we have these children who are extremely adjusting, and they're very used to staying with their aunties. The one on the left, we have so many friends. Like I said, it's the armed forces family. So you can see I'm in my uniform. And the lady on the left was such a major support to me in my posting in Kochi. She would babysit my son on my night duties when I did casualty duties. And we are still very much in touch. And they've offered to look after him where he's working right now because they happen to be in the same station. So that's how it goes on, with a little help from our friends. My friend's sons, they used to babysit him when he was a little older in Cochin. And that's their mother, another armed forces officer's wife. So we have a lot of help from our friends. Then, of course, we have it from our family, my brother and my parents, and of course, my spouse. It's always a teamwork. You can see that we are moving in the same ranks through our careers in the armed forces. So we are captains, sergeant captains there, and now we are both sergeant rear admirals. So I think it was a lot of teamwork. We had a lot of publicity in the press when it happened, when we were promoted. So I think we
Very
have to get
evident.
by with a little help from our friends and relatives, and maximally from ourselves. Yeah, that we can do it. Find a way out. Yeah.
It's a delight to see sir also there, ma'am. Evident teamwork happening.
Yes.
And your kids also reflect you. So
Yes.
only a strong person can be as inspirational to everyone around, right? And we
Yes.
can see that so clearly through these pictures. And when you're speaking also, the pride with which you speak about your family and your colleagues, it's really wonderful. So handing over for our next question to Kuva.
Ma'am, my next question is, how did you keep yourself motivated each day?
Oh, actually, the army training always tells you and it keeps you self motivation. I think makes up about 80% of your motivation. You know, you have to be self motivated. For that, you have to be happy. You have to look for happiness and other forms of things which make you happy. For me, I look at other people for inspiration. Some whom I know, some whom I don't know. So here I am. This is my most proud photograph. I am with the three Paramveer Chakra awardees at one of the parades in Delhi many years ago. And I think all of us are smiling, which is really nice to see. But I draw my inspiration from people like this who were so selfless and awarded with such high honors. I look at inspiration from my senior women achievers. You see, these people, the ladies in this photograph are very important. One is Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, our former defense minister, who is now our finance minister. We have Air Marshal Padma Bandyopadhyay. She was the DGMS Air, which is the Director General Medical Services of the Air Force. And then she was a Air Marshal at that point of time. And very recently, she's been awarded the Padma Bhushan. She continues to be so inspiring to all of us, madam. And this is Vice Admiral Arora, Punita Arora. She was a very eminent gynecologist and a naval officer, and she also retired in the rank of Vice Admiral many years ago. You know, 2008 and 9, we're talking a very long time ago. And this is General Elizabeth, who was the head of the nursing service. So we have a lot of diversity and we have a lot of people who have performed so well before us. And I draw inspiration from them. We in the armed forces have a lot of opportunities to meet people who can inspire us. Here I am with the President of India. Here I am with Mrs. Devjani Ghosh, who is the President of NASCO. And this is Ms. Divya Ani, who was the Air India pilot who flew the first solo to San Francisco. So I mean,
Great.
these are inspiring ladies, and I draw inspiration from them. Yes.
You must have been so proud, ma'am, in all these various roles and people around you. So it
Yeah.
shows the storehouse of energy and positive attitude.
And then
I'm sure it takes
we
you
get it
places
from each
and makes
other.
you.
When we met each other, we were so happy because we shared our experiences, and we realized that all of us are moving in the same direction.
So that this is what takes you places and makes you an achiever for a lifetime, I'm sure. Right, kids? So you all have to learn from Madam a lot. Today has been an inspiring day for all of us. So handing over to Muskan.
So, ma'am, the next question here is, please enlighten us about your greatest achievements and what message would you like to convey to our teachers and students?
Thank you, Muskan. Well, actually, Mrs. Arora has already spoken, in the beginning of the presentation. So I'm just going to show you some photographs of some things which I thought, small achievements, but maybe they were big in my, at that point of time. This was my stint in the Andaman Islands, a tough one where we had, you know, the challenge was the distance and how to evacuate patients from various islands, how to save them, how to move them to the mainland, and how we move from a lack of facilities to building up facilities. So I thought it was an achievement for me to move through that smoothly. Very young I was. Then was my stint in Jammu and Kashmir, where I looked after a lot of the civilian population. Here I am in the snow in Jammu and Kashmir, evacuating casualties on the chopper, looking after the civilian population, and being the sole lady around for miles together. Then my stint at Tata Hospital and the Gamma Knife training, all of it, all been given to me by the armed forces. I'm extremely grateful to the armed forces for giving me such an education, two postgraduate degrees and a training abroad. Here I am with the Gamma Knife team and my radiation oncology team and then I went to Pune where I became the head of radiation oncology and the entire malignant diseases treatment center. We had a 110 bedded onco center which we were running along with the Department of Radiology which I looked after. And my achievement is my association with Tata Hospital. It is another amazing amazing institution of this country. I draw inspiration from them and I'm very proud to be associated with them. And then in a role as a civilian radiation oncologist, I represented my armed forces at the association. So I'm very much a part of the education program in my particular subject. Here I am as Dr. Arti Sarin. Then another achievement which I'm very proud of is the sailing trip which we undertook from Kochi to Lakshadweep on a sailboat. As late as 2020, December 2020, there were just 6 of us on a 40-foot sailboat called Indian Naval Sailing Vessel Bulbul, and we traveled from Kochi to Lakshadweep over 3 days. And here it is. We have been shot. The photo has been taken by another ship which was seeing us off. So that's where we were, and I think it was an achievement, even though it was so late in my life. It was I wanted to do this for a long time and finally got to do it in 2020. Yeah. Then, of course, I thought a nice moment when I represented my country at a seminar by the United Nations Peace and Security for Women. It was done by the Quad nations from the US, Japan, India, and Australia. So I represented the country's thought process on it. Then, of course, leading the COVID challenge from Southern Naval Command, which got a lot of press. And here I am on TV, leading, the team against the COVID challenge.
I saw this webinar of yours, ma'am. It was really inspiring.
Thank you. And then, of course, the moment where you take over command of a hospital that you have done your internship in, and from another lady officer, I think it was a very historic moment for all of us. And believe you me, there was no gender bias in this at all, as you can see. And the proud moment was when I took over command at a parade of all 630 men. So that was a proud moment, and you can see the likes on the, on the page, Indian Navy page, Har Kaam Desh Ke Naam. Very proud moment for me. And finally, very recently, I received the Presidential Award of the Vishisht Seva Medal from our Commander-in-Chief at the Western Naval Command. So they were proud moments for me.
Ma'am, one thing I saw very evident in each and every picture was the beautiful smile on your face, whether it was a situation where things were difficult, or where you were with your friends or with family, or taking over as a commander as well. The one thing which stayed fixed was your smile. It was always there, right? So it shows and a learning for our kids also, that we should be very positive and keep ourselves self motivated. That is the word that you used.
You won't believe, but that was a thought which crossed my mind just now when you said it. Definitely self motivation.
So, ma'am, thank you so much. Let's go to our next question with Kuvam.
Ma'am, the next question is, what plans did you implement for overcoming the pandemic situation, and what is your suggestion for us?
It was an extremely challenging situation, and it was an evolving situation. All of us saw that. So then what were we doing? We laid down guidelines, we laid down treatments, we followed other treatments, we followed people sending us standard operating procedures in very, very short periods of time, which kept changing. There were different scenarios in the first, second, and third wave. So we learned from the first wave where we were innovating. And in the second wave, we were dealing with large volumes and shortages and supply chain management. So we planned ahead with flu clinics, bed placements, and isolation facilities. We struggled for oxygen and medicines, but we were there. So my advice for all of you would be plan ahead. Always look at planning ahead. Always have your plan A, B, and C for whatever you do, whether it's studies or anything that you do, because you can extrapolate that from your studies to your work later. Always remember there is no other option but to success than to have teamwork. You have to have teamwork. We had a fantastic teamwork between the medicals and the non-medicals in the armed forces during COVID. I actually formulated the training of the battlefield nursing assistant, which was a very, very old concept, which I revived. We trained people who are not medicals because we knew we would fall short of people. People were falling sick, people were not available, what to do with people at far out places. So we trained people I made a video, we made a training capsule, we sent it out to friendly foreign nations too, and it was well appreciated. And actually, that was the part which you saw on TV, just the TV clipping that I showed you, where they actually showcased that on TV. We also communicated with relatives of patients, so that's why I'm trying to tell you communication is the answer. Along with self motivation, communication. Always communicate with the other person what you feel, what you think needs to be done. And of course, we also struggled a lot and we managed to immunize a lot of people. So that is again a preventive strategy. So look at prevention and look at planning ahead. That's what I would like to tell you.
Right.
And all of it again, the naval motto, to be combat ready, courageous as well as cohesive.
Very right. I think we have to apply it in our lives as well. So the pandemic was disturbing for all of us, but yes, some strong people showed us a hope in the future. That is to stay together and plan ahead, and we can overcome anything.
Yes.
So with that, I'll request Muskan to bring up her next query.
So, ma'am, would you please like to convey any message for the parents who would like to support their children's for their dreams?
Of course, again, I bring my parents. My father was the most amazing mentor. He was 40 years ahead of his time. He was so encouraging. He would always look ahead. So all parents these days they're sending you to such a brilliant school. So I'm sure they're already looking at your dreams. And my only advice to parents would be just look ahead, encourage what the child wants to do, and he will just achieve that. Some people do it soon, some people do it a little later. So encouragement is something that is what is required. And I have also done the same. So that's why I just wanted to show you a couple of photographs. Here we are. The Maharashtra contingent got the best NCC award this year at the Republic Day Parade. And here we are with our first lady, the senior most lady at Western Naval Command, the president of the Naval Wives Welfare Association, when we felicitated the NCC cadets at her residence. So it was such a pleasure meeting them. They're all school children like you. And I would encourage all of you to indulge in activities like this. It makes you much better human beings and very well prepared for the future. You should always mentor. If you are a junior, Muskan, you should mentor your juniors. Because my seniors, they're all seniors in this photograph, they mentored me. And there are some juniors in it too. This is my main mentor. This is Dr. Ketiyun Dinshaw. She was the director of Tata Memorial Hospital. And this is my mentor from the Indian Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Mukherjee and General Matthew behind. All of them encouraged me so much during my career, and I'm extremely grateful to them. And I'm trying to follow their example to mentor my juniors. So I would, say the same about mentoring. Parents mentor, friends mentor. And here is the Admiral who mentored us to go out to sea, who mentored all the girls who went out. The naval girls who went on the Sagar Parikrama. You must have heard of them going around the world. There was about 2 years ago in 2019, they completed their voyage. They went around the world in a sailboat. So, you have to think big, and all our parents should help us think big and kind of, assist us in doing that. And I'm sure they are doing that these days. They always do. Here I'm mentoring some nursing cadets from the armed forces. Students who are my juniors now, I was a student once, yeah. And you can see now their uniforms have changed. These are young students whom we met at the National Defense Academy. Admiral Mathai is also there with me in this photograph, where we were, enlightening them about the armed forces, just like I am talking to you. And as usual, I put my Tata Hospital picture here because that's very important that, there are so many directions anybody can take to achieve and keep moving on and changing if you want to at any given time. So parents should appreciate that. I'm showing you this photograph again because I wanted to tell you that friendships are so important and we should maintain them. So that is Dr. Priya Abraham and me in 1981, and now in 2019 we're still the best of friends. My friends from AFMC, we're still there at my niece's wedding. So friendships are very, very important for us. And I think why I mentioned that with the parents was because our parents are still friends. So I think, again, family support everything is what really matters finally.
Right, ma'am. So parents and good friends are always there for you, loving you in the true spirit and being supportive of all your dreams. So trust in them, trust in yourself is what Madam has told us today, right? So with that, can we have the next question now, children?
Ma'am, do you think you have any more achievements where you want to make your mark in the future?
Well, yes, it's a journey that we're all undertaking, and we don't know what is our next destination. But definitely, we should plan. Like I said, we should plan ahead. I have many thoughts in my mind as to what I want to do, but what I would just say mainly would be my dream would be, health for all in my area of responsibility and the entire country maybe. Use a lot of primary prevention strategies and use a lot of digitization and IT and artificial intelligence in every aspect of healthcare to improve it, and to kind of, make it accessible to each and everyone in our country because everybody deserves it.
So your journey is a never-ending one, ma'am, and I think it will stretch on for an eternity and go on and on. So the energy, a lot of energy we can see all around you, and today even we are feeling energized just by listening to you. My children have a couple of more questions, and I would request Muskan to ask her next question.
So the next question I have is, sometimes we maintain our outer demeanor of being very serious about all emotion, but all emotions run high inside. What is one such emotion you display only in personal life?
That is a good one. Emotions run high inside. Yeah, sometimes some disappointments, but emotions I display only in personal life. Yes, I would like to admit that maybe I'm a little snappy sometimes with my family. Again, they are our punching bags. So, uh, but Mrs. Arora just said that I was very patient, but I'm snappy with my family sometimes.
So we need to fall back also on something
Yeah.
for our emotional support as well.
And they support me throughout. Yes.
It means a lot when you have a family who's always standing there with a lot of support, love, affection, and positive energy.
Yeah.
Then it becomes easier. The journey becomes easier for all of us. So with that, we have one more question from Kuma.
Ma'am, any message for the youth of the country?
Oh, I have lots of hopes and lots of love for the youth of the country. You know, from my side, it would be stay physically fit. If you have a problem, talk to your friends. That's why I keep showing you pictures of friends because I think they've helped me so much in my life. Family again, like Mrs. Arora mentioned. Teachers are very important. You have such wonderful teachers around you. Please go to them if you feel that you have a problem because something that is very small can be sorted out until it becomes a situation. So always remember that. Respect each and every person that you meet. Everybody has a lot of self respect and self esteem, and you should maintain it. Don't grow too large, an ego, but never give up your self esteem. Focus on what you want to become. Learn to work with your hands. Always work with your hands. Never feel bad about doing any kind of chore at home. Train, and train yourselves to do anything and everything. Engage in good habits. Be punctual, be physically fit, ensure that you get adequate sleep, stay away from addictions. Please don't let yourself to be dependent on anything. Depend on yourself. Stay away from gaming, screen time, and substance abuse. The world is your playfield. Aspire to inspire and mentor. Mentor anybody you can, anybody you can. Winners never quit. I want you to remember that. And quitters never win. And always bash on regardless. Build a world that's free of bias, stereotypes, and discrimination. Build a world that is diverse and inclusive. Work together as a team. Be diligent in your studies. Have a positive attitude in whatever you do. And you must remain combat ready in whatever role you have. Mine is that of a doctor who looks after troops in the armed forces.
Beautiful, ma'am. Amazing journey. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience for all of us also. We learned about team spirit, the cohesive and positive attitude, and spellbound by the beautiful memories, the pictures where I mentioned earlier also, you smiling in each one of them. It is, really, really contagious. Even we all were smiling seeing all those. And I'm sure the focus was on family and friends. And in the end, what ma'am told us, punctuality, training, and good habits, good values make us what we are. So these were the key words which we learned from madam today. And I'm sure, children, this is going to be, a learning which you will carry for many, many years along with you. When you also someday make us proud, and we see you in different roles as strong women, and my boys as strong men also. As ma'am says, there's no gender bias, we all are one, and we should understand our potential and our capabilities and move ahead in life. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was wonderful speaking to you today. And once we share it with all the children, they're going to love it. And I think we can keep on watching this video and this experience again and again. And each time we would learn something from it. There was so much there. So thank you for giving your time to all of us today, and highly grateful and highly obliged.
Thank you so much, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, Dr. Sarin. Jai Hind to you too. Very proud of our country and for bearing such wonderful people. Thank you. So, ma'am, thank you. It was really motivating.
Thank you. I hope
Yes.
it wasn't too long, but
Ma'am, it could have gone on for a longer period of time and they would have been learning from it. It was really inspiring, and I think children need to, hear you and see what experiences you have had. It is truly inspirational, and they will truly, gain something out of it and try to make their lives also a little more special as you did.
thank
And
you.
the last couple of questions where you mentioned that there is some more learning which I still have to do. Always looking forward.
Ah,
That was yes, that was really inspirational, right? It encourages us also. I was telling the kids today. I said, you are so young, and we are in another age bracket, another generation entirely, and we are trying to learn about technology, and you are born with it.
absolutely. I'm so impressed. They are just handling the whole thing. I'm so impressed with both of them. Please convey my best to them. And they are
Thank you so
lovely
much, ma'am.
children, and wishing them all the very best and loads of love to them and
Thank you.
positivity.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving your time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Serene, once more for your time.
Good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye,
Good
children.
night,
Bye
you too,
bye.
ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.